Morning all, and welcome to a wet, miserable day outside. But I have to say, this is the big day. This is day one of the Stanley Cup playoffs for 2019, and we've got five pretty solid matchups. Parity, it's here, and it's interesting because, of course, I have to put up records, the team's records. None of that matters right now, and yeah, we're 16 wins away. So what I've done is I've also put on the board the teams that are not playing tonight. These three matchups will take place tomorrow, and I will maintain this board as the playoff board as the plan. So we'll see how long that plan lasts, of course, because plans do change, but for now it's the playoff board. All right. Dallas and Nashville. So this being their first matchup in the playoffs, there's no playoff familiarity, but there's definitely familiarity between these teams. And they really didn't like each other in the second half of the Dallas-Nashville games that were both in Nashville 5 days apart. So I expect some pretty bad feelings between these teams, and I expect Bishop and Rene in net. I don't see any reason to think that Hudobin will be in net unless Bishop gets hurt on his way to the game today, which I wouldn't rule that out, but I haven't heard anything yet. Now, looking at all-time playoff records, the Dallas Stars, going back to the Minnesota North Stars as well, they've won 29 series and they've lost 30. Nashville, they've won 7 series and lost 11. Overall records, 163 wins and 163 losses in the playoffs for Dallas. And on Nashville's side, 49 wins, 56 losses. So, other than the fact that Dallas has a Stanley Cup, which was in 1999, neither of these teams have a fantastic overall playoff presence, but one of them's going to the second round. Now, I still think it'll be Nashville, and while I may get accused of not being a true Dallas Stars fan, we're not getting into the no true Scotsman fallacy on this issue either, because it's not a thing. I think Nashville's just the better team. Top two scorers for each team. Sagan led the way for Dallas, 33 goals, 47 assists. Hit the 80-point mark. Radulov, 29 goals, 43 assists, 72 points. And on the Nashville side, Johansson, 14 goals and 50 assists to lead them. And Yossi at 15 goals, 41 assists. So don't let that 64 points fool you. Nashville's attack is just fine. Just some guys got injured and didn't end up getting the amount of points they would have if they hadn't been. Rookies of note. Miro Heiskanen, 12 goals, 21 assists. Rupe Hintz, 9 goals, 12 assists for Dallas. Both of them will play a key role. If Dallas is going to overcome Nashville's defense, Heiskanen's going to have to show the maturity and the composure that is necessary on that blue line to neutralize their forwards the way that Nashville's defense can neutralize the Dallas forwards. I've said it before, it's probably going to be a low-scoring series. And Hintz, who took some major strides in the second half of the season, he's got to show further development in this series. Dante Fabro is the rookie of interest for Nashville. Played a total of 4 games. Did have a goal, however, and Fabro could very well play a part in this series at some point for the Nashville Predators. They're high on his capability, and we'll see whether or not that faith is justified as soon as tonight. Next up. All right, Islanders. Islander fans mad at me for picking Pittsburgh. And I think Islander fans are just mad because a lot of people pick Pittsburgh because it's the easy pick. It's the easy pick. You've got Matt Murray and Robin Leonard. Which one has the longer playoff history? Murray. 2 Stanley Cup rings. Murray. And just the Penguins in general. It's not we desire it. Now, on the injury front, both Dumoulin and Aston Reese, when I made this board up last night, said that they would be game time decisions today. So, we'll see whether or not they play tonight. If Dumoulin's healthy and plays, that makes a big difference. If not, that kind of does as well. Their all-time record. Well, Pittsburgh's 40-28, so they've won 40 series, they've lost 28. The Islanders are 31-20, but They won 19 series in a row back in the 80s. 19. Almost won 5 straight Stanley Cups. So that takes 19 out of that number. That's 12 and 20 outside of that incredible dynasty, right? Overall win-loss record, the Penguins 206 wins, 175 losses. The Islanders 144 wins and 120 losses. Pittsburgh has 5 Stanley Cups. The Islanders have 4. So the Islanders trying to get to 5 and tie up the Penguins again. I think the Islanders would be happy with a round. I think if the Islanders were to knock off the Penguins and then lose in round 2 to whoever wins between Washington and Carolina, I think that is a season of success beyond which anybody had expected for the New York Islanders this year. They're already playing with house money. The pressure is not on them. It'll be more on Pittsburgh. And this game being in New York, having that electric atmosphere at Nassau could really help them out as well. Leading scorers, Crosby for the Penguins, of course, 35 goals, 65 assists, 100 points. Phil Kessel, 27 goals, 55 assists for 82 points. On the Islanders side, Barzal did lead them in scoring, 18 goals, 44 assists, 62 points. That is the step down from last season, which was to be expected. Bailey, 16 goals, 40 assists for 56 points for him. Rookies, Aston Reese, as mentioned, he's a game-time decision. 8 goals and 9 assists for him in the games that he did play. And Devon Taves on the Islanders, 5 goals, 13 assists. He may end up being a major role player as well, because in series like during playoff rounds, you can often see that your star players will kind of cancel each other out, and it's players like this that end up playing that major role. So, and I want to throw in, and I said this during my series previews, who I think is going to win. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's the team that I want to win. So, for the Islanders, be nice to see them go on a little bit of a run. Just a little bit of a run. Through to, say, the conference final, something like that. And for Barry Trotz, it's a good story too. So, all right. Now we'll move on. The Vegas Golden Knights will start a series on the road. This is different. This is different than last year. The Vegas Golden Knights didn't have to do that outside of the conference final. Conference final last year against the Winnipeg Jets. Other than that, they had home ice in all 4 series. Well, 3 of the 4 series. I could have worded that a lot less awkwardly, right? Yeah, I probably could have. Yeah. 80,000 subscribers. All right. Marc-Andre Fleury and Martin Jones. This is where the story's gonna happen. Goaltending's gonna tell the story in this one. I really believe that. And Fleury's had an excellent season. I think the Vezina talk around him, to me, that's kind of overblown a little bit, but I get the excitement. I don't think he's number 1 Vezina guy, but he has had a better season than Jones. And I've seen articles over the last few days of San Jose being confident in Jones and Jones believing he could bounce back in the playoffs. That's not a narrative you want your team to be going over right before the playoffs, right? Now, when you're looking at all-time playoff records, Vegas, 3 wins, 1 loss. When you're looking at overall series, that loss was in the finals last year. Whereas San Jose, 18 series wins and 20 series losses. Overall win-loss records, of course, Vegas last year was 13-7, whereas the San Jose Sharks 109 wins and 112 losses. San Jose opening at home, you need to make home ice mean something. It is it's vitally important for especially the Islanders and San Jose tonight to make that home ice really needs to mean something for them. Because with the Islanders, you don't want Pittsburgh to get their confidence up. And with San Jose, you don't want to be going to Vegas with a split series and looking at potentially going back home for Game 5 down 3-1. And that's the nightmare scenario, right? So leading scorers for each team, Marchessault, 25 goals, 34 assists for Vegas. William Karlsson, 24 goals, 32 assists. Karlsson and Marchessault both played better in the second half than the first. And on the San Jose side, Burns, 16 goals, 67 assists for 83 points. Hurdle, 35 goals, 39 assists for 74 points. Overall attack, it's kind of a soft defense. I give it to San Jose if Carlson's healthy. If it turns out he's not actually 100% and he doesn't play very well in this series, then defense favors Vegas. I am still favoring Vegas to win this series, and it's going to be interesting because for a team that's in its second year, the pressure for me, anyways, is on Vegas. And you would think that with San Jose being the home team and all of the talk of who may or may not go at the end of the year, especially Erik Karlsson, right? The thing is, we're kind of expecting Vegas to make that move. And when I see everybody picking Vegas, I'm thinking, okay, well, since everybody's picking Vegas, and I see a number of pundits picking Vegas to go all the way to the finals, I don't see that. I'm not gonna ruin the whole bracket thing for you guys right now, but I don't see Vegas going to the Stanley Cup final again. I think that's kind of crazy. They finished 16th overall in the NHL. They had a good season, but I don't see them as being a Stanley Cup champion or a Stanley Cup finalist. But I do think they'll be able to take out the San Jose Sharks. I get that feeling. So tonight, San Jose needs to assert themselves. We're the home ice team. It's our barn. We're not losing here. And not only that, but then San Jose has to keep the pedal to the metal kind of thing. It's gonna be tricky because Vegas, you get that crowd into it, you get that team energized, and we could have a similar run to last year, but I don't see a run like last year happening. I don't. Next up, Columbus are dead. You're still not dead. If you make the playoffs, you're not dead. But we'll get into why people see this as a mismatch. And when you look at the team's histories, it doesn't help. Columbus is in against Tampa, of course. Bobrovsky against Vasilevsky. So that's going to be a nice Russian matchup right there. And Hedman is playing. Stralman is likely out. It hasn't been, last I saw, it hasn't been 100% confirmed that Anton Stralman will not play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But we'll see. With Hedman going in, that makes a difference right there. All-time records. Columbus has never won a round. They've been out in the first round 4 times. They have 5 wins in their entire existence as a team in the playoffs and 16 losses. Whereas Tampa's 14 series wins to 9 series losses. They have 73 wins and 60 losses in the playoffs, and they have a Stanley Cup to show for it. So when historically it's a mismatch. And this season, when you look at the 62 wins that Tampa put up, it's a mismatch on that level as well. A lot with Columbus is going to depend on the guys that may very well not be Columbus Blue Jackets next year. Their leading scorers, Panarin, 28 goals, 59 assists for him. Atkinson, 41 goals, 28 assists, 69 points. Atkinson will stick around next year. He's one of the guys that will actually still be a Blue Jacket next year. On the Tampa side, Kucherov, 41 goals, 87 assists, 128 points. Take that, Almo. Alexander McGillney no longer the number 1 Russian scorer. I don't think he's worried about it. Steven Stamkos, 45 goals, 53 assists, 98 points for Stamkos this year. That's not a bad season. That's pretty good. Pretty good season for a guy that 15 games into the season, I was talking about how he wasn't really on the score sheet at all. So we'll see how that turns out. Rookies. Tessier will get his chance with Columbus. He had 1 goal in the 2 games he played. And a Columbus team that definitely needs a little more punch in that attack. And also some hope with some guys potentially leaving. Tessier will get his chance. On the Tampa Bay side, rookies, they got rookies too. Cirelli, 19 goals, 20 assists this year. Matthew Joseph, 13 goals, 13 assists. And Eric Chernak with 5 goals and 11 assists on the blue line. There is a lot of skill on Tampa, and there's a lot of young skill on Tampa as well. So not only are we looking at a team that's a machine right now, they're highly likely to still be a machine next year and potentially for a while after that. It's all a matter of cap management getting players to take maybe a little bit less money than they would get on the free market, and just keep winning. Players will take a little bit less money if the team feels good and if they're winning a lot. So, yeah, the sky's the limit for Tampa. There's no pressure on Columbus. We'll see how that works, if that works in their favor. Columbus really needs to win game one. Win game one, put a little bit of doubt in the minds of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then work from there. Work on home ice. The thing with Columbus that works in their favor, they were really good on the road this year. What works against them, they weren't very good at home this year. So they've got to change that narrative in the playoffs. They got to be good at both. All right, that being said, moving along to the last game of the night, and it's St. Louis and Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets, who it would appear from my start times for games, may very well have some really late games on, because Hockey Night in Canada would want to show the early games and then would want to make Winnipeg the late games. There is some messy scheduling that goes on this time of year every year. It sucks, and I feel bad for fans of teams that their start time might be 8 o'clock locally, 8:30 locally, that kind of thing. So a lot of that during the playoffs. I don't like it. And then you get your late starts, and then you get your matinee games, and I don't know. I sometimes wonder how much that throws players off. Anyways, for tonight, it's Bennington and Hellebuck. Those guys are going to tell a lot of the story in these series. Goaltending is really going to play a major role all the way across. Morrissey's back tonight. So the Winnipeg Jets will have Josh Morrissey back in the lineup tonight. That makes a difference. Brendan Tanev is still out. Their all-time records, St. Louis has won 27 series. They've lost 41. The Winnipeg Jets have won 2 series in their existence. They've lost 3, and both of those series they won last year. So Winnipeg's trying to get out of the first round for the second time in their existence, but the second time in 2 years. So they are trying to build a better legacy than the previous Winnipeg Jets had, and then they had as the Atlanta Thrashers before moving to Winnipeg. And so far, so good. Overall win-loss records, St. Louis has won 164 playoff games. They've lost 201, whereas Winnipeg's won 9 and they've lost 16. And I like St. Louis going to the playoffs. I do. I got a good feeling about St. Louis going to the playoffs. Which, depending on how you see my prediction record, St. Louis fans might go, oh, great. Yeah, great. Shannon thinks we're going to win something. O'Reilly leads the St. Louis Blues in scoring this year, 28 goals, 49 assists. Tarasenko, 33 goals, 35 assists. So after an iffy start for Tarasenko and some middling numbers, he ends up with 30 goals this year and almost 70 points. Wheeler, 20 goals, 71 assists to lead the Winnipeg Jets. And Mark Scheifele, 38 goals, 46 assists for him. Rookies, well, Thomas has been pretty solid for St. Louis down the stretch. 9 goals, 24 assists for him. Mason Appleton is the highest I could find for Winnipeg. 3 goals, 7 assists. Winnipeg, Columbus, San Jose, Vegas are 4 teams playing tonight that rookies aren't really a major role play. And I don't think Nashville, they may not be. And with Aston Reese as a game-time decision, they may not be for Pittsburgh either. So all the rookies and all the excitement over rookies, a number of them aren't playing in the playoffs. So a lot of veterans taking over in the playoffs at this time of year. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. That's been quite popular the last few days. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.